welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen. With me today, the dynamic duo of Daniel Mangana and Alex King. This is your Daily Dose of Happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. And I have to say, I'm pretty happy because Louise and I have decided we're going to take tomorrow off. We're going to the beach. So this is actually the last show of the week. So if you're looking for Friday's show, it's not happening this week. It'll happen next week. You know, just saying.
Yes.
But that's okay, because we have a Thursday show.
Ain't go see me. Ain't go see me. Gonna be at the beach. Gonna be at the beach.
It's a beach day. I'm loving it. And I'm looking forward to it, too. This is going to be a good thing. So
nice.
We were talking before we got started here about what kind of topic to do. And the topic we came up with was judgment, which occurs to me that we don't ever judge vacations, do we? I mean, well, I say that to make a point.
You judge the people on vacation.
Well, perhaps, yeah. I try to avoid that, but I understand your point.
Yeah.
But
if you're Instagram scrolling and you're like, oh, I wish that was me.
But what I'm trying to get at is we use the word judgment kind of as a replacement for blame. I mean, it's like the politically correct way to say blame without actually saying the word. And judgment actually covers a lot more than that. Like an example I gave a few days back was, if you're judging a pie eating contest and you pick the winner, are the other pies to blame? Well, no, of course. They're not to blame. There's no blame involved. It's just...
Are the other pies to blame?
You know.
And I just started hankering for pecan pie.
There you go.
I don't like pecan.
But you see my point. Judgment is kind of a wishy-washy term in some ways. Blame is like, it's clear. Everybody knows what blame is. Judgment, you know, well, I'm judging, but I'm not really judging. You know, it's that kind of a thing. So I just start the conversation that way by pointing out this is a tricky word. This is a word that isn't quite as straightforward as we think it is, because some people mean blame and some people don't. So you got a story, Alex. Why don't you start us off with a story, because we love stories.
Okay, so I dipped into the contrast last week. A little bit more.
Congratulations, by the way.
No. Okay, fine. So there's an incident, and of course it's revolving around wedding stuff. So what happened was, one of the groomswomen I would like to no longer be in the wedding. And it's due to racial issues. So I'm trying to handle it the best I can, but at the same time, it's Kenny's relative. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, not really a relative, more like his stepdad's niece, like whatever. So she said some things that have made me uncomfortable. I confronted her about it. She said that they're not racial because they weren't directed towards me. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For example,
I've heard that one before.
Yeah, neither have I. So I was taken aback. And she said, give me an example. I said, okay, for instance, when I was showing you the jewelry I was getting for the wedding, you said, oh, your friend's pretty for a black girl. Ooh. I said, that was my reaction, Daniel. So I had let it go by. I mean, I said something to her that day, but I had let it go by for a couple more instances happened. Finally, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want anything to do with her. She's clearly got racial issues. And Kenny's like, no, it's just da 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 da. And I'm like, you handle it then, because I'm over it. And she told me that the pretty for a black girl should have been taken as a compliment. And I'm in the wrong.
I believe that's called backtracking.
It's called gaslighting. That's what it is.
No, that's called backpacking into the land of nonsensity.
Yeah, well, that's true. I didn't say where they were going.
And lighting your way into that field of...
Yes.
Yeah.
With gas. You lit it with gas. Now, I spent my formative years in a predominantly white area, and I've heard some interesting stuff like that. But I can say from first-hand experience, she probably is convinced that she's not saying anything racially charged. There's nothing wrong with what she's saying.
She is. Because she's trying to convince me that that's not what's happening. And I'm like, but it is, though.
Be a good darkie and just play along, won't you?
Right? I'm just like, no.
Wow. Wow.
So how would y'all judge that situation?
Yeah, we've got way past judgment. I'm not sure where we are right now, but we're way past judgment.
No, because I'm totally judging her for this conversation. That's
okay,
why.
All right, there's that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, some people just, this is what they've got. This is the world that they live in.
And that's unfortunately Kenny's argument is, look at who she was raised by.
Yeah, but then,
but if I'm telling you to do better and you're telling me, no, I don't have to because that's not what it was.
Okay.
Then
all right. Well,
I'm not
then don't be in my wedding. That's like.
Oh, that was the thing. She was like, well, it's been on top of a bunch of other stuff, but this is like the fifth thing. And I was like, no, now I'm done.
Yeah. But you know what? And for the people that want to cancel me, cancel away. I'm still going to talk, but you know.
It's whatever.
Ignorance is everywhere.
Mm.
And I personally feel that until we start stomping out ignorance as a whole, this is going to be allowed.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a thing about African American comedians that are allowed to say racist jokes. Like.
Yeah.
They can say whatever they want about Caucasian people in the audience, but if the roles were reversed, oh my God!
Yeah.
It'd be over. I think everyone just needs to just spend some time in some different cultures. And did I ever tell you the thing? I must have told you guys this story before. I was walking to school. Bear in mind, I think this is my 4th year of high school. I don't know how it works for you guys in America, but it's my 4th year.
That would be our last year of high school.
All right, whichever one the thing is.
So 4th year is senior year for us.
Whatever that one is. So I'm walking. These two guys they've slept in my house. I've slept in their house. Their mum's cooked me dinner. My mum's cooked both of them dinner. Mm-hmm. We're walking along and you got to see that they kind of looked at each other like, it's time to let him know. Like, they're walking along. Wait. And they go, Dan. Yeah. One of them was a spokesperson, but he was like spokesperson for both of them. Before you, I never really knew any coloured people. But you know what? Coloured people are all right.
Oh no.
And then he followed that up with, by effing hate peas though. P-A-K-I. That was, and he was like.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I had to receive that.
How
right. You don't know what to do in that situation. Like,
what do you
moment.
do? So I didn't know that I'd been the ambassador for black people everywhere.
Right.
Right.
Yay me. I was glad that some light had been shone into their lives because now they're not going to perpetrate. Like kids that I went to school with, I see them like out marching for the English Defence League and stuff like that. It was that kind of area.
Okay.
So being able to sort of disrupt and introduce something different feels wonderful. However, it's really scary that I had no idea that I was being, like the entire black race was being judged.
Determined based on you. Yeah.
based on me. I was carrying the lantern. But for these guys, they had never been in a black person's home before.
Yeah.
They probably hadn't had a black person in their home before. Hadn't engaged in this close quarter of people of colour at all. Mm-hmm. And so it was, and this happened with, a girl I dated 5 or 6 years ago that I went into her house and she told me afterwards, you're the only black person that's ever been in the house with the only black person my grandma's ever spoken to. Like it's never happened before. So I understand where the lack of capacity to see things differently comes from. I'm not going to call it ignorance because for me, ignorance is when you have the opportunity and deny. You offering her the opportunity to see it different and her rejecting that for me is ignorance, not someone that doesn't know any better. Mm-hmm. But she was given the opportunity to know better, decided not to take your feelings about something into consideration. Mm-hmm. It's like, she needs to get cancelled like Manifest. No comeback.
That was quite a segue right there, I have to admit.
That was great. I like that one.
But yeah, those are my thoughts on it.
I can actually appreciate the perspective of somebody who had not had interactions with a person of color before, because that was my experience growing up. It wasn't until high school, I think, that I even saw someone with a slightly darker complexion than most of the people I knew. So that was part of it. And then the other part of it was I grew up in the 60s and 70s. So all that I saw was racist. Everything. I mean, the whole thing was, so I had no context at all to work with. And quite honestly, I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. Of course, I didn't know what to do was also my byword for just about everything else in my life growing up. But nevertheless, it particularly applied in that area. And I remember the first few people I met who I got to know well, who were people of color. And how do I explain it? I was not surprised that they were just normal people, and I didn't know how to make the connection in conversation to tell them that I was glad that they were normal people without insulting them.
Thank you for not being an alien. We appreciate it.
But bear in mind, what had I been taught? I had been taught all this crap, and I didn't know how to work past the crap. I had no experience with it. So that's why I say, I mean, I don't know necessarily how that particular person was handling it. I know what the feeling is. The feeling is being lost, totally lost.
But I think what I just want to just throw out there is that doesn't just happen with people of Caucasian origin.
Right.
Looking into people of Afro descent.
Right.
Like, you see it the other way around.
Yeah.
You see it from people in different parts of Asia with people of other parts of Asia.
Right.
And here and there, and it happens everywhere. There's this segregation and this insidious underlining thing of promoting the idea of ignorance and closed-mindedness. I recorded a podcast yesterday with a mate of mine who actually I think will be pretty darn cool to come and hang out with us one Thursday. He's just cool. His name's Debo. Really cool cat. Yeah, he's just a cool cat. He's just a really, really cool cat. We're actually going to look at doing a live show every week because he's just so cool. We have great conversations. But we're talking about this whole thing of not applying our own mind and never taking the time out to actually do something different. Like, because we're not trained to do anything different. We're trained actually just to keep our blinkers on and hold up the status quo and not even explore there being anything different. This poor young lady, and I do pity her situation, she probably doesn't have the neural pathways required to actually discern there being anything wrong with her behavior. Because that is the way humans are cooked nowadays. They're like little bio machines that go off into the world. They're programmed with social media, and culturally, most cultures even reinforce the stereotypes. If you look at every stereotype, a lot of stereotypes you'll see about different cultures, you'll see some aspect of their actual culture propagating it. Look at the Gangnam style. Look at that video. Right? Look at K-pop.
Yeah.
Look at hip-hop. Like, the stereotypes are pushed and promoted so that what the outer world sees is the narrative that they've been told is the narrative.
Right.
That's true.
So where's the opportunity for the disruption?
I guess one of
so, like, for example, I mean, Jeffrey's put some cool books that are there to read, but you know what? I find them to be like shaming. Like, you're supposed to be shamed because you're white. Like, I saw this guy. Unfortunately, he passed away. It's just some guy I knew from Instagram. Unfortunately, he passed away. His kid did a post to say he passed. But during the whole Black Lives Matter thing, and he was interesting because he refused to give in to the white shaming, refused to give in to it. Really, really fascinating guy. So like looking at his posts. And he had a picture of an East Asian looking, young lady, like a child. And it's, the quote said, "I suppose that she's responsible for everything her grandfather did in World War II.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
But it's true.
It is true. Yeah.
Mm.
It is. But here's the thing. We are responsible for what we do now. But if we're caught up shaming people for something that was done in the past, there's no space for people to start looking at doing something different now.
We need
Like if
growth.
I'm saying, well, what are you doing? Well, when are you going to send me my reparations check?
Right?
Yeah, that would make an
wasn't-
interesting conversation.
Walt wasn't sending anyone to the cotton field. However,
Right.
if Walt here is propagating the same energy, the same systems, the same mindset and the same treatment of people of color as that, then there's something. If Walt wasn't open to having conversations that are going to move humanity forward, that's a different
Right.
thing. For me, I treat this narrative, and I've done a couple of videos. I pitched an op-ed, but they didn't want to hear what I had to say about it because I wasn't speaking to the narrative. I did pitch a couple of newspapers with my thoughts on this.
Wow.
But, yeah, I did, because it's like this nonsensical. Shaming is not going to help anything. It's like we're just playing in the same field, and unless we stamp out racism across the board, including comedic racism of other cultures into Caucasian culture, including self-deprecating, including cultural, the propagation of stereotypes within a certain culture, nothing's going to change anyway. Doesn't matter how many times you give people a "Don't Be Racist" book, if the person who's written the book is then going to go and make derogatory comments about people of other races.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Make it make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense to me, but it's really nice to hear you say it. I felt like a lone voice in the wilderness sometimes. I want to take a moment to do some shout outs here because we got some people in the live stream saying hello. So hello to JB and to Nam and to Kelly and to Steve Rawl, who I haven't seen in a long time. Hey there, Steve. How you
Steve in
doing?
the house.
Like, this is great. It's almost old home week. I love it. But thanks for actually, Steve actually made an interesting point. He said the beauty is you can unlearn the crap that you were taught as a child, and that's true. Mm-hmm. You can unlearn it. Some people choose to, some people choose not to.
If you choose to, you can unlearn it.
But the environment has to support that.
Right.
Culture has to support that disruption.
Mm-hmm. To some degree, at least.
If you're trying to put someone under the cosh and saying you're responsible for something that happened 400 or 500 years ago, your healing from it is you feeling the shame of something that you weren't even personally responsible for. That's not expansive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And with all due respect, a lot of the mainstream narrative that I personally, as a black man, witness is like you have to think. Like even I cringe that we're still in a world where on Netflix or Amazon, let's promote black stories.
Yeah.
What about Asian stories? What about white stories? Can we not just have some cool film? Can we not just have some cool films? Now, I do get that there is a pushing of the positive framing, but I just think it's sad that we're still in a situation where we have to keep pumping this thing. Oh, hello, we're Marvel, and we'd just like you to know that we support black. Like, why do we have to be? Why are we in a place where we even have to do that? That's what I would love to see happen. That
Somebody
we move
was
past these
saying
conversations as a whole.
Somebody was saying the same thing about how we have different months for different things, and different companies will all of a sudden jump on that month. So like Pride Month, all of a sudden everything Target is rainbow.
Everyone's got a rainbow. Yeah.
All the flags are out. I was like, but where were you the other 11 months? Like, come on.
Yeah. It's like, really? I don't know.
Sometimes I feel like we're living in a Robin Williams joke. I mean, it feels.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh, I heard a nice story about Robin Williams that I read the other day.
Oh, what's that?
It was very nice. So there was this contest that this guy, when he was like 10 years old, won a contest where him and 10 other friends would get to write Robin Williams letters over the next year, and he would write them back.
Oh.
So he was so excited, but didn't understand how it worked. So he was going to Disney World, and he swore that Robin Williams was in the genie costume at Disney World. So he brought his letter and he went to go give it to the genie. Apparently Robin Williams was there that day signing autographs. So he went up to Robin Williams, gave him the letter, and he was like, "Oh, Keith? Yeah, I got your letter last month." And he cherished it for the rest of his life. And then with the day Robin died, he cried for 2 days. It was so sad, but it was so wholesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I think that kind of points to the answer to Dan's question. I mean, Dan, you made a beautiful question. You raised a beautiful question. What's it going to take to get off this spot that we're in? Mm. I think the answer is along the lines of that. It's love. It's appreciation. It's people as people. It's just, I mean, I try to make it a point to just, except when we do this on the particular show today, I try not to get into anything that's racial. I try to just say, I'm not interested in racial. I'm interested in people. And I think of it that way. And I look at people that way, I mean, with each of you, the first thought that did not come into my mind when I first found out about Alex and Dan was, oh, they're black. Good. I can diversify. I can make the rainbow.
Black History Thursdays. Black History Thursdays.
It was like the last thought. Like, okay, well, great. Yeah, fine. But I was more interested in the fact that the reason I brought Alex on was because she knew about the law of attraction and she had a comedic background, and I wanted to have that. And I brought Dan on because I'd be stupid not to. Because
Facts. Where would we be today without Dan?
Right? So skin color? What? Where does that fit in? I don't understand. But I know it is for many people. I really do think, though, that the secret to the shift, and I think the shift is happening, I think the secret is in people who just treat people as people. I really think that's going to be the root out. Yeah. I mean, you used an interesting phrase, Dan, stamping out racism. How do you stamp out racism? The moment that you do it, you're promoting it. Just because
you're resisting it. You're giving it more life.
I just said the word. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy. It's crazy.
But going back to our original topic, this is I mean, we start off with a topic and then we just take it like to the nth degree, But racism is the ultimate form of judgment, isn't it? I mean, is there anything that's more extremely judgmental than racism? If I think about it, I might find one, but I don't think so. Could be wrong about that, but that's not the most judgmental one I know out there. Okay. When you thought of the idea of addressing judgment today, Dan, you actually had a longer phrase in mind. I don't remember exactly what you said, but what was the context that you had in mind?
So I read a book by a guy called Robert Scheinfeld, Busting Loose from the Money Game, it's called. And one of the ideas that he presents in there is that if we want to be able to connect to more infinite possibility, we need to be less connected to density and able to kind of flow between experiencing and enjoying what's happening in three-dimensional reality and then popping out and grooving into the different things that we want to call in. But when we're judging something, we make it real. And once something's real, you can't change it. So, if there's something going on, if there's a person, place, thing, and experience, the second that we put a judgment in it, we actually limit the possibilities of that thing to change, transform, and expand into something else. Mm-hmm. So when I'm judging a person, they're this. I've just locked them into that in terms of my experience. And in that situation, that relationship evolving, or the variation of that person that's available for me to experience limits, because my judgment has made them really this person. It's by releasing the judgment, I give them the freedom for me to be something else that I can witness.
Mm-hmm. So that raises a few questions in my mind. I'm not sure which one to go to first, but I think I'll go here. If that's the case, if, for instance, judgment does kind of lock it into place, how can we unlock it? Because, I mean, are we stuck with it for all time?
Well, what is judgment? Let's explore what judgment is. What do you guys feel that judgment is?
Well, I already touched on that early on. I think it's a vague term, so I have trouble narrowing it down to one particular thing.
Yeah,
Where does it come from then? What energy is it in?
I think it largely comes from a fear energy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For me, it's fear. Yeah. So rather than just like when I talk about limiting beliefs, like so you guys will know and as the listeners will know, especially if they're subscribed and listen to this every week.
Uh-oh.
He said the magic word.
TV timeout.
I haven't said that in a long time.
Well, let's do it in reverse order. How does somebody subscribe on YouTube, and then we'll talk about the other kind.
Okay, you go to YouTube, search LOA Today podcast videos, and once you see our smiling, sometimes sweaty faces, click down below to the red subscribe button. Next to the red subscribe button, there's a little silver bell. Make sure you click all so you will always be notified when we are live.
And as for subscribing to the podcast itself, that's pretty darn easy. Pick your favorite platform. We're on it. Do a search for LOA Today. It pops up. Click subscribe. You're done. It's not more difficult than that. We're literally everywhere now. We're in some places I didn't even know the place existed, and I'm not. Once in a while, I get an email saying, "What platform is that?" Huh? But we're on it. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw it on Spotify the other day, and I got all excited.
Oh, we get a lot of listeners through Spotify, actually.
Yeah. And Amazon Music.
Spotify is going up. Amazon Music is good because you can use Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's why I switched from Spotify.
Yeah, so we're actually pushing for my podcast. We've been pushing this being on Google more because this voice activation stuff is really getting the numbers up.
Yeah,
getting the numbers up.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that is one thing I have to check on because somebody once reported to me that Alexa wasn't finding it, so I got to find out what's going on there. So that could be the one exception, but that won't be an exception for long. Just saying.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
So, all right. Well, pulling back from the segue, which was a wonderful segue, by the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. But like even when I'm talking about limiting beliefs, it's I don't advocate digging around into the limiting belief because you're not moving anywhere different. You're in the same space.
That's true.
The same with the judgment and the fear. But when we look at the science of frequency, coherent frequencies consume incoherent frequencies. When a coherent frequency is brought into a space of incoherence, it positively pollutes the space and transforms it into a coherent frequency. Fear, measurably, is an incoherent frequency. That's why it even feels icky in the body. Love is the highest coherent frequency. Mm-hmm. So just by bringing love into the space, even the smallest iota of it, holding that consistently, will allow it to start transforming all of the space. The way that we can stop judging something is by finding something to love and then expanding more deeply into that love until it transforms the whole situation.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Yeah.
And that's science, baby. Y'all gotta know the science right now. Y'all, it's science. We ain't even in that woo-woo stuff right now. We're in the science, y'all. The science. Can I get a spot on grass is greener now with one of my accents?
You could have the entire cast. I mean, you're fabulous.
If we only knew you then.
If we only knew, yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, now. Yeah.
I feel like if we had him on the grass is greener, we never would have got any work done.
Well, that's true. But it would have been a hell of a lot more fun.
Oh yeah.
No, you would have done. No, you would have done because I'm a taskmaster.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
we need one of those.
Yeah, I'm a taskmaster. Like we're giving energy to this thing and not completing it. Y'all got me mixed up with something else. Okay, y'all got me mixed up. We're about to finish this right here.
Now all of a sudden I'm scared.
Was it the African American twinge of my accent?
Yeah, that's what it was, yeah.
Oh no.
Oh boy, this is where one of those comedians comes in and tells some sort of a racist joke. But God.
Yeah, we'll leave that out.
Yeah.
Speaking of comedians, I've got a video I've got to share with you guys. After my mate Dina actually sent it to me today. I'll tell you the chap's name. He's passed away now, unfortunately, so he's no longer with us. George Carlin.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's a clip called Saving the Planet where he talks about the fact that the planet's going to be just fine and how ludicrous it is that we think that we're going to damage the planet with our plastic bags.
Yes.
Yes. I don't remember that one, but he.
Oh no, it's great. It's great, Alex.
It's amazing.
In fact, I'm gonna pop it in our chat right now.
Carlin was one of my very first favorite comedians.
Same.
When he first came out. Yeah, he was just. He was one of the only. One of the only comedy acts I actually.
It was a long time ago.
But he was great because he was so outside of the norm.
Yeah, my dad.
I was in stitches the whole time. I was in stitches the whole time. I was like, what? Mm-hmm. It's like the Earth's been here 4.5 billion years. We've been here maybe a couple 100,000. And we're like, we must save the Earth. He's like, that's such an ego-driven thing. We must save the Earth. The Earth's going to be fine. You're going to be dead, but the Earth will be fine.
This is how.
Earth is like, you're going to save me. You're going to die. I'm going to be just fine. We're going to just purge you. Like, yeah. Like if the water rises, I'm going to be here, but you're going to be swimming a very long time until you die. But we'll be on some water world stuff.
Right?
And then you probably kill each other because you're stupid. But I'll be fine. Mother Earth's just like, yeah, I don't even know.
That reminds me of the one of the funniest Mother Nature scenes, I think, is from Santa Claus 3. Have you guys seen that?
I don't think I've seen number 3.
I can't.
Is number 2 when he gets a girlfriend?
Yes. And number 3 is when they have the baby.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
Okay, because Mother Nature is in that one. And she was like, Santa, don't mess with me. I'm pre-El Nino. And I was just rolling. I was like, yes. Amazing. Played by Aisha.
Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen.
I made the comment recently that I'm not worried about the planet being destroyed because, to the best of my knowledge, in order to do that, you have to have a planet killer, and they were all wiped out along with everybody else who was supporting the Emperor in the last Star Wars movie. So I think we're safe.
Until the Force rises back for the next.
That's right. Yeah. But then they have to build another another planet killer. They have to build another Death Star, and until they have that one, I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be dead. I'll be fine.
Yeah. Have some time. Some time in a Jar Jar Binks before that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, according to the weather today, this is some sort of August, let me tell you.
What's happened for you? We had flash rains this week. Rains.
Yeah, we had flash rains too.
Yeah. It rains here like anything from 10 to 15 days of the year. It rains. Yeah. That's it. And it only rains normally September, a little bit of back end of August normally. But like you get like a day or two, then nothing. Then a hurricane, then back to sunshine. But everyone loses their minds because there's no infrastructure to deal with the rain, so it just goes a bit bonkers.
Yeah.
It's kind of like living in the north, but toward the southern part of the north where there's no infrastructure for handling snow. It's terrible to watch.
Yeah, but you have snow a lot. I don't understand why.
But if you're in, say, the middle part of the country, say, Virginia or, that section of the country that isn't used to getting large amounts of snow. They've been getting a lot of snow lately, but most years.
They go crazy.
Or like what happened in Texas.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
Mm-hmm. Same deal.
Yeah.
They just don't know how to handle it. And they don't have the infrastructure to handle it.
Well, if they pledged allegiance and supported democratic policies, maybe. I'm judging right now.
Very nicely, I might add.
Judging Texas as a whole.
Judging Texas as a whole.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of judging of Texas going on these days from a lot of different camps. So you're not alone in that.
Texas is an interesting place. I've only been to a couple of places in Texas. I'd like to just explore and understand Texas more because it does seem to be a very special place.
Yeah.
It is. And it's a lot more diverse than people think at first.
Not everywhere, though. Well,
not everywhere.
Let's be honest.
Not everywhere.
Let's be honest. Southwest Texas.
If you take the thing as a whole, there's a lot more diversity than it gets credit for.
I've been to Houston and I've been to Dallas thus far.
Okay.
But I'd like to explore some wider areas of Texas to understand the Texan spirit.
We both need to go to Austin so we can go see the British Beer Company. Not British Beer Company, that's out here. What's it called? Family Business Beer Company.
Well, I do have a lot of friends in Austin, and it's on my to-do list.
It's on my bucket list. I must drink a beer.
Yeah.
That is where Jensen Ackles has his brewery.
Of all the gym joints in all the world, them in mine.
Yes, we're full of judgment today.
Yeah.
Well, we're being true to the topic anyway.
Yeah.
True.
But look how the vibe's raised. How can we be in this space and be disempoweringly judgy?
And
Right.
I think that's really the key, because what we're talking about here is, among other things, how do we break out? How do we shift away from it?
We don't break out. We float up into a higher height.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
And it works. It's very effective.
Mm-hmm.
We love free. We don't break free. We love free.
Yes.
I like that.
I love that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's exactly what it is. Funny thing is, too, when we find ourselves exploring the love frequency more often, the judgment stuff goes away. I mean, it just kind of, it doesn't go away completely, but
same thing.
it becomes very unimportant. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not part of the conversation anymore. It's kind of, yeah, it's there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. I appreciate that it's there, but I don't really care about it anymore because I'm in the love place. It just kind of goes away on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is probably the best argument for love being the solution.
Yeah. Love is the answer.
Mm-hmm. It is
To
indeed.
the question, is it love?
How about the question I brought up at the beginning of the show? Because I pointed out that judgment isn't always blame, but we tend to treat it that way. And I guess the question, well, I could ask that a couple different ways, but I'm going to do it this way. If we are talking about things in terms of judging, are we doing these subjects a disservice because we mean one thing, but we don't necessarily want to say that one thing? Because that's my perception. I think that we tend to use the word judgment instead of blame because it sounds more politically correct. But we really want to mean blame, but we don't want to say it because it's not really nice. So we say judgment.
Cannot compute.
I think that sometimes what we're judging, when we're judging, we're looking at something to blame, but that's not the only place where judgment shows up. Sometimes we fear something, so we judge it. We don't understand something, so we judge it. But yeah, oftentimes we're using judgment as the justification to blame something. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say all the time. How's your computation going, the Alex King?
I'm loving it.
Fabulous.
Thank you for noticing the extra E.
Oh, I like that one. That was very nice. So if judgment is not just applied as blame, what are some of the other words that we could use to say that it is used for, that we tend to use it? That is, let's put it this way. Are there any uses of judgment that are actually affirmative and helpful? Because I think there are, but I'm just curious.
Oh, let's hear that one then.
I want to hear what are.
Well, I'll go back to the blueberry pie eating contest. Which one are you going to judge as the winner?
I want pie again.
I mean, all the pies are tasty. I just happen to like this one better. So where's the negative?
I think it comes down to the energy with which we're making the judgment. And are we making a judgment for our own discernment, or are we making a judgment that we're putting on someone, something, or somewhere?
Yeah, there is definitely a pitching of energy, shall we say, where judging is concerned.
Because I don't think it's always necessarily, I have the judgment and it is upon you. It's like, I've got a judgment about the thing. I'm going to make a choice based on that judgment and sort of bounce. It doesn't really have any impact on them. I judge weather. Me and Olga had this whole thing the other day because she's slyly trying to negotiate that we move to somewhere that's got more rain and more cold weather. I'm like, bro, when you met me, I let you know I moved clean across the Atlantic to get away from rain and cold weather.
I was going to say.
Don't try and switch it up on me now. Oh, so just because of you say that's what it is, that's what it's going to stay. I said, no, these were the terms under which we began this dalliance. I'm not doing rain and cold weather.
Can't change it now.
Sorry. You can't change it now. It's like, I judge cold weather to be something that I don't desire to be in relationship with on a regular basis. You can dip in and then I'm going to slide out, but I'm not going to stay in it. Like, is it going to be snow today? No, thank you. I refuse.
Yeah.
But that doesn't impact anybody apart from Olga, who wants snow. But I've agreed to take her to somewhere snowy for Christmas.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, be a snowbird.
But other than that, the snow doesn't have any, my judgment of it as something that I don't really prefer, doesn't have any impact.
Yeah.
On anyone.
I call that discernment. That's because I really don't like using the word judge. I avoid the word judge because I find it to be too wishy-washy and too indeterminate. So I like discernment for that. I like to discern what's my preference. Which do I like better? Not that there's a right or wrong. I just happen to like this better. What was that, Alex?
I said, is judgment, the word judgment for you, is that like selfish? Because I know you have.
No, it's not that it's selfish. It's a, how do I describe it?
No, not that it's selfish, but is it like, you know how you react to the word selfish? Is it the same reaction for you?
It's never the same for me because it's not so much that I'm reacting to the word. I'm reacting to people using the word and how they're using it. And the way that they're most often using it is in hiding. I'm going to use the word judgment. I really mean something else, but I won't tell you what it is. So, I mean, I don't want to use the word like that because I don't want to be that vague and mysterious and hiding behind shadows and so forth. Some people like that, but I'm just not interested in that. So I just tend to avoid the word because I find it to be more confusing than anything else.
I just find it to be negative.
Negative Nancy.
I don't know, just the word judge. Like people just, whenever someone says it to me, it's like because you're thinking something bad about another person. You're judging them. That's how it's always came across to me. So.
Well, most people I think react that way. But again, I point to the pies. I mean, do you have any trouble judging pies?
I want pie again.
I mean, you can do it a lot of different ways. I just happen to like pie, so I'm bringing a pie. But
what's your favorite pie, Walt?
Blueberry.
I think I need to try more American pies.
You
guys do know how to make pies.
Actually,
I've had pecan, apple, blueberry, strawberry. I've not had cherry.
If you can find the person, if you can find the person who knows how to make it, the best pie in the world is a blueberry and peach pie, but it has to be made by
Dickens, Charlie and Wine.
Chocolate mousse pie. Yes.
I can't tell you why it works so well if it's done well, but the one that we had, that Louise and I had, was in where was it? It was either in northern Massachusetts or southern Maine. It was somewhere in that range.
I was going to say that little corner of the world where the original invaders landed definitely know how to do these things.
Absolutely. And exactly. it was just knocking you out of your socks. That's how good the pie was. It was absolutely delicious. Two flavors. I thought that would be too sweet that way, but they didn't put a lot of sugar in. It was actually very low sugar. But
they probably let the natural sugars.
I think they did. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it just, wow. Blueberry pie I like a lot. Peach pie, I'm kind of okay. Put the two together in the right combination. Oh my God.
Do you know what part of the world I had some delicious blinking pie?
What?
When we went to Amish country.
Oh, I believe that.
Ooh.
Those guys know how to cook some interestingly delicious food. Even the sandwiches were most delicious.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
And
do you remember what kind of pie it was?
I don't remember what pie we had. We had a couple of types of pie, and even did things like the different jerky sticks that they make. Mm-hmm. I was buying them and shipping them to New York that summer and having them shipped.
I jerked that into jerky. It's not bad.
No, the Amish folk, look for something around the Amish lands and look for an Amish land people. They know how to jerky some.
The Amish land people?
Yeah.
They do.
Even like there was an elk one that I had. I was like, elk? Whoa. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought they just had beards and bare feet and horses, but no, they've got pies and jerkies also. Yeah. Exposed myself to new culture and came out with a very happy tummy. I'll tell you that much. Mm-hmm. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
There are benefits to that lifestyle. It's a very non-modern lifestyle, but there are benefits to it. And food is definitely one of them. Craftsmanship is a big part of it. They're craftsmen par excellence. I mean, they're just among the best in the world.
If you ever have an apocalypse, I'm going straight Amish. Like I'm going off the grid. I'm making pies. It's going to be great. Sewing my own clothes. It's going to be fantastic.
They've been staying ready for the apocalypse.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, the internet's down, and what? That doesn't hurt. No,
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're like,
Yeah.
Facebook!
They're like,
What?
I suspect probably their reaction is, what's a grid?
mm.
Well, they have to know what a grid is in order to be off of it.
Well, that's just the point. Do they even use the phrase "off the grid"? I mean, if you're
Yeah,
born
I
off
don't
the
think they
grid
would
and
know
you
that
live
phrase.
off the grid, do you even? It's kind of like saying, well, yeah, I'm a Connecticut.
I'm a kinetic.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Well, it does to someone somewhere. If we start to
suppose.
factor in infinite possibilities, we just don't happen to be the ones
Just don't
making
have,
that
somebody in
conversation.
Bridgeport maybe. But I
Not
don't
today.
know.
Not today.
Not today, Connecticut. Not today.
Shelley Epperly wants to know if New England has good pie. She's making that judgment that New England has good pie. And she is correct. She's making a correct judgment.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Although
Oh,
I don't
wow,
know.
we've
I've
got
never
lots
had
of
pie anywhere else, so I don't know what to tell you.
Although I
We've
would call
got-
it discernment, but yeah, I mean, the rest of it I agree with.
We've got a lot of chat.
Yeah.
Kelly
we're
talked
yeah.
about Zip popping.
Live,
boisterous today.
the live stream has been busy. Very, very busy.
What?
Oh, yeah. Let's see if we can
Steve
bring a
says-
few here and here.
Yeah, bring some on. Steve's been throwing some mix in as well.
Whatever word they use, it feels like an attack.
Yes, that's
I
so
love
true.
that one. Because that's what often happens with some of these conversations. I mean,
Mhm.
I would have this conversation with you guys because I can trust you guys to,
Yeah.
not go off on some crazy thing. But
Did you ever see that meme? Did you see that meme, Walt? Who goes,
What?
There's a
it's
meme.
like, there's a meme and it's like, I like oranges. So what you're saying is that you've got a prejudice against all apples and other fruits. And they've done something to you.
Yeah,
And then,
that's the idea.
like, no, I just said I don't really, I prefer oranges. Oh, so what have apples done? Eh? What about the spirit of their ancestors? Eh? They make good pies too. All fruits matter.
All
Right? All fruits matter. So, anyway. But that's what I feel like sometimes. That happens.
Oh,
Ah.
man.
So yes, there's a comment from Jeffrey. I don't even know where to go with that.
Well, how is well?
Here's an interesting one from Shelley.
the
We judge
difference
for
be-
survival and for connection. What do you think of that one?
Be better if you didn't. I think,
Yeah,
we could have love and community instead.
I don't know about
But,
survival and connection. I'm gonna have to disagree.
Okay.
You didn't say it respectfully.
No,
You didn't
I
say it
did not.
respectfully.
I said what I said.
You lot are always confrontational with chips on your shoulders. That was a compliment, by the way.
Oh no!
I had to do it. Come on. I had to do it.
You had to.
And it was brilliantly done too, I have to say.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Master
That
always
is-
said so.
Hmm.
Kelly had quite a sad experience.
Who?
What was that?
Kelly Bird had a quite sad experience.
Oh, let's see this.
1978, she was 17 at her grandfather's house on the phone talking to a black man.
Oh yeah.
My grandfather took the phone and hung it up and had a few words with me.
Wow.
That's the environment that some people are coming up in.
Yeah.
That was the 70s. That's exactly what the 70s was like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It didn't matter what. I mean, I was kind of fortunate in that I grew up in a family where my parents pretty much taught me from the beginning that I should ignore everything that I'm hearing about people of color because it's all
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Propaganda.
Propaganda, yeah. And my dad told a story about my grandfather, who I never knew. My grandfather died 13 years before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually wrote a book, a really nice little book for the family, little stories of his father so that we could know who he
Aw.
was, which was really great.
Do that.
I tell you, it's one of my prized possessions. I love it. It was so
Yeah.
great that he did that. But anyway, one of the stories he tells is of how his father was sitting in their living room. Now my dad's family was very poor. They were so poor that, now this was during the Great Depression, so a lot of people were. But during the Great Depression, they were so poor that the only way that they could feed the family is to have the firemen, which is something the firemen did. The firemen would bring by a meal in a bag for the family on a periodic basis to help supplement the food supply. So that gives you an idea of what the environment was.
Yeah.
But my grandfather is sitting in his chair in their little living room, and there's a knock on the door. And my dad, who was probably, he was a kid at that point. I don't know exactly what his age is, but I would guess he was like around 10, something like that. Goes and answers the door and opens the door, and there's a black man standing there. And he's a chimney sweep, so he's dressed like a chimney sweep.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandfather sees who it is, jumps up and says, "Hi," I can't remember what his name was, and "Great to see you," shakes his hand, welcomes him, brings him into the living room. And then they would chat for like the next hour and a half or 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's how my dad was introduced to race, through that. And that became a storyline that got passed down in my family.
Well, that's good.
So, yeah, it was good. So I had that as I was growing up, but that was the lifeline, because the rest of the limited experience that I had was what came through the television.
Right.
And that wasn't so good.
Pimps and hoes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that actually didn't come until later. It was more about the only thing you ever saw on television had to do with the civil rights movement, and it was always, since it's the news, it's always reporting on the worst stuff. So it was the riots and the police squads attacking the demonstrators, and the big loud speeches and it was all that kind of thing.
So the Black Lives Matter
but
movement that we
nevertheless.
just went through.
What was that?
The Black Lives Matter movement that we just went through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was nothing like it. They were going in back then.
Oh, I know. The hoses, it was terrible.
Oh yeah. But that's what I knew growing up, and when you're growing up with that, it's just you have so little context to work with. And that's what I constantly remember. So it doesn't surprise me at all that Kelly's grandfather behaved that way. It's very sad, but,
and he probably didn't think anything was wrong with his behavior either. It was.
I'm sure. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect he thought he was being protective.
Right.
Which is really sad.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I have to stand corrected. I did have one other influence that I'd forgotten about. The church that we were a member of had a family who were from one of the Caribbean islands. I can't remember which one it was.
Montserrat, St. Vincent,
No.
Grenada, Barbados.
I'm not sure.
Barbados.
But anyway, they were members of the church, and he sang in the choir, and she was just sort of there a lot. And of course, you notice right off, well, they have dark skin. What is this? What's going on here?
What is going on here?
And I recall I was about, I would say 6 or 7, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I already had a sense that race was an issue. So I was a little bit scared to even say anything. But I mustered up the courage, and I asked him, their name was Soleil. His name was Sebastian Soleil, and hers was, what was her first name? I can't remember what her first name was.
St. Lucia sounds like, they sound French, maybe it's St. Lucia or Martinique.
Could be, yeah, it could be. But anyway, I asked Mr. Soleil, did you get sunburned? Because I was trying to understand what I was seeing.
You were 7. I'll let you slide.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know. I had no
No one told you. You didn't know better.
Right. And he just smiled. He was so kind about it. And he said, "No, I've been like this all my life, and so have my ancestors." And
nice.
That just floored me right there. I never considered that possibility up until that point. Now all of a sudden I had something to think about for the next week. So those were my influences, and I'm pretty sure my influences were better than many people my own age. So yeah, Kelly's experience just, I think that was the norm. I think that was actually the norm.
Have you ever said any of the following phrases? My best friend is black.
I can't rule that out, but I don't think so.
Have you ever, in a conversation where you were judged as a racist person, have you ever tried to combat that with the fact that you know black people, so it's okay?
Probably.
Oh no.
Like, that sounds like a possibility. Wow.
I mean, seriously, I honestly don't remember. And the reason I don't remember is it wasn't
the whole thing, though. People think that like validates them.
Oh,
they're like, oh, like my father-in-law got into an argument at a gas station one day, and these people, it was a black person and a white person. I don't remember who was who, but the white person called him racist, and he comes back with, "My son's wife to be is black."
Yeah, I saw it.
So how could I be racist? And I'm like, right there, Jay, right there.
We need to work on this one, bro.
We got to have a meeting. We got to talk.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to be the poster child for this family, we gotta do better.
Have you got your black relative? How to survive the racial apocalypse?
It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your black relative is?
Do you have a child or sibling that is unattached? Consider marrying them to a person of color. The racial apocalypse is coming. Have you seen Woke? Alex, have you seen the show Woke yet?
Yes. Not the entirety of it, but I've seen a couple
Watch
of
it. Also, you will enjoy. I watched the whole thing in one day.
Okay.
Back to back.
All right.
This is
I didn't tell the truth about why I went to bed early, just so I could watch it in peace and quiet. On my phone.
I'm telling.
On my phone. I did it on my phone. You lying. You people always lie. So, take that as a compliment. It's great. No, because it explores some of these ideas from an interesting angle. So I think it would be.
Yeah.
Woke, huh? Okay.
Yeah. So the premise is
a lot of interesting things like the Eve gene. Have you heard about that?
The what?
The Eve gene.
I don't even know.
It basically proves that we all come from Africa because you can't.
Oh, Lulu Amalu. Amalu was from Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get. Yeah. You can get. What is it? Hold on, brain fart.
Mitochondria.
No.
Mitochondria.
No, I was saying you can't get black from white, but you can get white from black. That's what they were saying. As the generations go on, if you start from a black person, eventually you can cancel out the black and get to a white person, but it doesn't work.
So it's like cancel out the black. Did black people just get cancelled by a black person?
No, I'm saying we all started from a black person. That's what I'm saying. Never canceled.
I think when it comes down to that one, there are so many different genealogical pools. I believe that different areas from different places make different races.
Agreed. I'm just telling you what I read today.
I don't even know what to say here. I really have no idea.
Well, lost the show. Press all the buttons.
Watch Woke.
I'll watch it for sure. Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's about a guy who stays out of racial issues and then gets profiled and then starts hearing voices that forces him to start looking at racial issues.
Oh, jeez.
I like it.
Sounds like a nightmare.
It was for him.
It really was. It would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is humorous? Okay.
This is humorous?
I'm asking. It's a normal question.
I love Walt.
Keep it 100.
Yeah.
Well, lacking anything else to say, I think maybe it's time to draw the show to a close because I don't know where else to go. But this has been very educational, very useful, and I still don't think I'm going to use the word judgmental, but at least I have a better idea of why not, so that's something.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much. See you guys next week. Thank you very much to the people in the live stream for all the contributions you made, and thank you especially to our podcast listeners everywhere. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.